Okay, so I've got these grape cuttings back, and today's May 3rd, and upon doing some research and watching some other YouTube videos, I found out that I did this wrong. You want to break off the buds that are below the soil line. You don't want those opening up and energy going into those. They're just going to rot. And one other thing is I saw that one individual, he actually took a pair of cutters and cut through the very bottom bud, and I guess that's a way to get the roots to come out of that node. So I'm going to take these out and take off those buds that are underneath the soil line. And I noticed also they did do this in a video. They mentioned that when you cut these cuttings, one technique they use is they do an angle cut on one side here. This is the side that orients the cutting upwards. So this is the right orientation here, and you do just a flat perpendicular cut on the bottom. So that's a good way to know what the orientation of your cuttings are, is by making these angle cuts at the side that's supposed to be facing up. That's a pretty good idea. So let me go ahead. I'm going to take these all out and take off that bud that's on the bottom. I think I might just put all of these in the container that I have. Keep up the humidity. One thing about these cuttings, grapevines tend to really look like they're dead, but when I cut these I could see that there is still green to them, but they don't look alive. Man, this is not going to be my day. I pulled all these cuttings out, put them in one big pile, and before I realized it, I had them all mixed up. So luckily I was able to review the video that I had shot to that point and separate the cuttings again based on their shapes and where the nodes were. So back to where I left off. So what I want to do, you can see the green there once that's wet. I'm going to cut completely through this node, and I think that's supposed to help produce roots here. Although when I cut off this bud too, remove this bud, there'll be roots, a chance for roots at this junction also. Above the soil, I think you want to limit the buds too. I'm not certain, but I'm not going to do that until they break. So at least I know that I have a bud that's opening and it's viable. And then maybe do some more research to find out whether or not you should limit it to just one bud. But I don't want to, remove the buds right now that are above the soil and then end up having none, because I think the cutting then does not make it. I saw a video that it'll produce roots, but if the buds don't open up, then I guess eventually it dies, even though you've produced roots. You would think that as long as it has roots, it still has a way to eventually form a bud, but maybe that's not the case. So I'm going to cut right through this with a pair of cutters and then remove this bud here and leave the two above, and do that with the rest of them. So let's see, I'm going to cut, I guess, right like this. And I want to remove this bud here. And I want to remove this bud. And that's it. I'll put it in some rooting hormone again. So I dip it in the hormone. and put it in. Hopefully the second time is the charm. And I'll do that to this one. Cut this butt off. And remove this one. Rooting hormone. And it goes. Actually, I think I should have left that butt on. I only have one above the soil. That might have been a mistake. And the two remaining ones. Again, on this one, I think I'm just going to remove the bud, not cut through it. Let's see, I got another one here. Some rooting hormone. And it goes. And hopefully some of these will be successful. So today's May 3rd, corrected by a mistake, and hopefully I'll get some success out of these.